Okay, let me start from the big picture of the main problem in the PMI in Indonesia. So there are three kind of problem here. The first is the wholesale and retail payment problem because the PMI currently have the application called SRC, Sampurna Retail Community. But however, they don't have a payment system yet there. But they already having an online delivery service, but without any payment system. So the first problem that we want to trying to solve is the wholesale and retailer. Between of that one, they don't have a payment system. So in order to make it cashless, also we want to touch the retail and consumer payment as well. So that the goal of the PMI want to replace the traditional payment system to cashless payment in commercial ecosystem, we can reach that goal. And then the other opportunity that we have been research about what kind of a big market that PMI can reach in this area. So basically, in a Philip Morris product, for example, like the Sampurna, it's approximately in every week they can reach like almost 4 billion rupiahs or about 275,000. And then all the retailer and wholesaler currently still doing with the cash. So if they can move on to the cashless, it can be better. And then the other thing is we can also move the traditional way like the cash system to the cashless. So we are UPay. Here we secure transaction platform. And then we are a small company in Indonesia. I'm Ikhwan Iqbal. I'm the CEO and founder of the UPay. And then we are 10 members. And currently we're joining in the MiniHack for 5 members. Sano Dimas, Arizona Fauzi, and then Antasena Davirga is being online right now. So actually, what is UPay? So UPay is basically a secure transaction platform. So we are a bridge between the buyer and seller. So what we do, so the seller is basically trying to sell something. And then the buyer, we want to make the buyer being secure and then can be increase the trust to the seller. How? So the buyer is basically buying something from the seller. But normally, a buyer need to pay at the beginning, right? So seller also maybe seller can will not sending or scam the buyer without by not sending the, or deliver the products. So in case of that, so we would like to secure or keep or hold the buyer payment until the seller send or deliver the products into the buyer. So here's our features. Our features, one of the most important is we provide a multi-payment support because we cooperated already with Docu, one of the largest payment gateway in Indonesia. Typically, Indonesian, they didn't have a lot of credit card. They don't use credit card. So we provide a bank transfer and convenience store payment. And the other thing, the buyer can track the products very easy using our system. And then the other thing is we are secure. And also the validation process is very simple. And we provide the API they can support. They don't need to log in our system. They just use Facebook or Instagram. It's very instant without any registration. So here's our pricing. It's very simple. Below $100, we charge $1 per transaction. And then more than $100, we charge based on the percentage. And the other thing is we also provide the API to the developer. So the key ideas for the MiniHack is we provided two kind of solution on top of UPay. The first one is we want to solve the wholesale retailer problem by providing the UPay in the between. And then how can we attract the end consumer from the retailer to the consumer is using the e-wallet service that we can provide it later in phase 2 solution. So currently we don't finish yet for the retailer to consumer, but we are capable to do that. So we're focusing the wholesale and retailer first. So in fact, market for the PMI in Indonesia, it's very large because Indonesia is one of the biggest cigarette consumer, I guess, and around the world. So let's see, we just focusing on the very small area or region here. There are more than 12,000 registered outlets that register with the SRC. SRC is a Sampurna retail community. So we can imagine that the transaction weekly is very huge if we can leverage the cashless payment using the UPay, and then we can share the cost by the PMI and then UPay, so it can be take the advantages by the both parties. Let's see next. So here is the business model and collaboration opportunity between UPay and then PMI. So we provide a payment solution without API fee, and then we also provide the reward point for the end consumer, wholesale, and retailer. The reward point can be exchanged by the products or the other products from the PMI. So it's very beneficial for the PMI. But we need something from PMI. Of course, we need the market from PMI to be registered by the SRC. SRC is the system that provided by the PMI, not by us. And then the other one is education and promoting is also we need by the PMI because they will also promoting their application system. And here is the demonstration from our mobile apps. Let's see. Oops, sorry. So here's how we log in. It's very simple UI and very intuitive. Right. So, oh, it's stuck here. So okay. Yeah. So if you are a seller or buyer, you can choose whether you are buyer or seller, and then you pick what kind of the transaction here. This is the general you pay, and then you make transaction, and then you share the code to the buyer, and then the buyer login, trying to log in, and then the buyer will enter the payment, the transaction code, and trying to confirm about that, and then they go into the payment gateway. The payment gateway here, we cooperated with Goku, so we provided a lot of payment system here, like internet banking, bank transfer, and so on.
Thank you. Actually, I'm sorry, Ikwan, I have to cut you off here.
Okay.
So we're just going to move over to Q&A.
Okay, thank you.
Who wants to go first this time?
Yeah, just a quick question. So unlike other platforms in terms of payment, usually you pay up front, get goods on delivery. So this system, you're saying the goods are sent, you only pay on delivery. How do you manage potential risks of non-payment?
Right. Okay, so how we manage the risk is basically because we provide it very secure, and then we also using the encrypted P2P so that the user, for example, buyer and seller, when they're doing a transaction, their ID will be privately secured with us. And also the payment itself, we will hold the money in our system. And then with Doku, they have the wallet system, and then we provided also e-wallet service so that all the money that they send is basically secure in our system, something like that.
Okay, because I was confused because you're saying people can set up and do this via like an Instagram account or so on. So I could set up a dummy account as a buyer, order something, it's delivered to me and I don't pay for it, right? Or so there's issues around delivery and payment risk with that supply chain. So it's quite an unusual mechanism to only pay on delivery for a lot of this. So supplier obviously, or the seller runs a lot of risk in terms of delivery and non-payment. Especially if it's all on social media accounts, which can be, I guess, set up for, for fraudulent purposes.
Right. Yeah. For the social media itself, it's actually as long as they can pay and then they confirm the payment to us, even though their ID is fake or not. So whether because they already pay to us, we can confirm and then we can notify the seller that the buyer already paid. Then it can deliver the product. So I think, yes, that kind of the flow that we adapt.
Iqbal, hi.
Hi.
Quick question. Do you currently have this platform running in Indonesia?
Yes, currently we are still developing the platform. The platform is not launched yet, but the SRC is actually the platform from the Sampurna. It's already run, and then we can embed it. We can embed our payment system inside of the SRC itself.
Okay, understood. Thanks. And one more related question: the cost of transactions that you had listed, I think $1 or less than for 100 and then 1%. What I mean, that's an interesting revenue stream, but obviously it adds a lot of cost to any of the users. What are your slightly mid to long term plans to manage that? And isn't there a better kind of a more cost effective option available out there?
Yes, about the cost, that if we collaborate with the PMI, for example, then we also, of course, we will negotiate more about that kind of the cost problem. But traditionally, we're still using that kind of the calculation by the transaction fee, because we are following one of the successful payment system like PayPal. They're also using and adapting like that calculation. Thank you.
I would also have a question for you, Ikwan.
Sure.
So this is an sorry, Prasad, what was that actually to answer your question? Can I go ahead with another question?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. So so this is an app, right, that needs to be downloaded. So give me a little bit of background in terms of your go-to-market strategy, Ikwan, and how you're going to drive broad-scale adoption of your app.
Yes. Mostly, I will targeting the open marketplace like the Instagram marketplace, Facebook marketplace, Kaskus in Indonesia, one of the biggest marketplace, and Carousel. So basically, all the marketplace, they don't have a specific payment system to secure the transaction between the buyer and seller. So how can we emphasize the user to using with us is basically not that difficult, because we can leverage with the social media itself. Because currently social media transaction is very huge in Indonesia. So if we can convince them that they can secure the transaction using us, then that's actually one of the big opportunity for them also using UPay.
Okay, understand. And again, at what stage are you in? Do you have some data in terms of adoption and churn, or not yet?
Oh, currently we're not having the data for that one yet, because currently we're still developing the application itself. So we're not launched. Yes, basically.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Not sure if Benjamin or Prasad has another question.
No, nothing more from my side, Karina. Thanks.
All good from me.
All good from you? Okay, great. Well, thank you. Ikwan, do you want to add? You have like a few seconds left. You want to add anything that you were not able to say and you really wanted the judges to know?
Oh, actually, I already covered all. So thank you very much for the attention.